Okay, here we are, part 11. Part 11, you see I'm in the same, no judgment, my hair is the same but messier and more strangled out. It was just what you would call a Saturday. But yes, let's go ahead and continue to part 11 of Genesis, and we'll go ahead and do a quote as well. And we'll talk about the importance of why we're even doing this. I think it's something that needs to be said. But leave the truth to the police and us. We know the good. We build the perfect city. Time shall never alter. Our law shall guard you always like a cirque of mountains. This is from Aldine, 1907 to 1973. And yes, one more time, leave the truth to the police and us. We know the good. We build the perfect city. Time shall never alter. Our law shall guard you always like a cirque of mountains. So, great. Why do we even care about religion in general? Why do we care about the book? Why is it so important to know these things? Because this is essentially our history. Living in America, we know so well. We spend countless hours in class, right? In freaking, excuse my language, in high school and in college studying like American history, even world history. But we never had the opportunity, unless you maybe went to a religious school, to really go back in time all the way to the beginning, all the way to the beginning of the Bible. But as we know, like everyone who's existing here on earth has come from these families, has come from these lines, and it's important to just understand that and be receptive of that. It doesn't matter what race you were, because everybody originated around that time of the Tower of Babel, when everybody was divided into different languages and races essentially there. I did a little bit of just Googling, don't quote me on anything, but I read that the Asian race came from the Moabite. No, came from not the Moabites. I'm sorry. See, this is why you're not even supposed to quote me on any of this. Ham, right? The family of Ham, apparently, some Asian cultures. So any race can be traced out. Africa was integrated with everything as well. They were very much coming from the Egyptian lineage, and different parts just kind of like intermingled and intermarried with everybody along the way. So this is just kind of something to think about. It all is tied together, so it's very important to know the foundations and the beginning of essentially the world today. Very much so the world today. So yes, this is why it's interesting. It's good to keep, as boring as some of these things may seem, it's very, very important to just really understand and take heart to, as this quote says, leave the truth and leave the truth to the police and us. Leave it to the law. We know the good. We build the perfect city. Its time shall never alter. And then this, essentially, the law, right, shall guard you always. And we talk about being protected with the book. And yes, you do have to be a believer to really experience the true protection and everything and guidance from God. There were some clans and some nations that just weren't believers. They didn't have that divination or that connection, and hence they just weren't as protected, or didn't go through the same rigor that maybe a believer would. So again, just very important to hold to that, especially if you want just this spectacular guidance and everything that comes with being a believer and honoring your beginning and where you came from. But without further ado, we're talking a little bit about Esau's family line. We're going to go into some little lines of his family members and his tree. But if you do read Genesis in full, it gives a good account of this person was this person's son, they had these sons, It goes through everything. But I'm leaving things out for sake of time and such. But let's continue. Chapter 36. Esau took his wives, sons, and daughters, and all the members of his household, as well as the livestock and all other animals, and all the goods he acquired in Canaan, and moved to a land some distance from his brother Jacob. and their possessions were too great for them to remain together. The land where they were staying could not support them both because of their livestock. And this is what I said, when Jacob originally came back, he moved kind of a little bit apart, not too far from Esau, and kind of set up his livestock, but eventually just got to a point where the land was unmanageable. So now Esau is the one kind of taking off from Canaan and moving just further away so they could flourish better. The sons of Esau's son Reuel, chiefs of Nethaphim, chiefs of Nethaphim, Zerah, Shema, and Bizah. These were the chiefs descended from Reuel and Edom. They were grandsons of Esau's wife, Basmeth, and these were the sons Seir, the Hortite, who were living in the region. The sons of Ezer, Bilhan, Zephan, and Achan. These were the kings who reigned in Edom before any Israelite king reigned. Bela, son of Beor, became king of Edom. His city was Dinhabah, where when Samuel died, Saul from Rehoboth on the river succeeded him as king. This is the family line of Esau, the father of the Edomites. So one thing that Esau did a little bit differently was he married outside of the family. He married a Canaanite woman, so with this, they had a little bit of a different succession, and they actually had great kings and great rulers within their family. So that's just something that we're pointing out here with Esau. He got a little bit rejected. He got his birthright and his blessings stolen from him, from Jacob, unfortunately, but it was a good thing that they were able to forgive each other and make up, because both, they were blessed greatly. We don't really hear a lot of narrative or anything like that coming from Esau's side. He was more kind of in his own realm, but that's okay. We hear a lot from Jacob's family, and that kind of continues the fun stories that we remember. So we're going to go into that in just a second. I guess we'll just move on to part 11, and then tomorrow we'll cover a lengthy reading, which will be the final, the final part, which will be part 12 of Genesis, and that will totally wrap up Genesis altogether. So congratulations, you're almost through. Just hang with me until tomorrow, and you'll be glad that you did it. Thank you for